I'm joined by Victor Davis Hanson, historian and classicist, to talk about what the implication of this attack in Canada is. Victor, welcome back. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, Hugh.
How are you reacting to this story, and what do you think 2 attacks in 3 days by radicalized Canadian Muslims mean?
I think we're back to 2002, a year or two right after 9/11, when we were a little bit more sober, that there were lone wolf Islamicists that would pop up throughout the West, sometimes in coordination, sometimes acting spontaneous, like the Sarnay brothers or the Oklahoma beheader, and that it was time to really monitor mosque, pull passports, deny visas.
Victor, let me play for you the president's 2 statements from earlier today. Here's number 1.
I had a chance to travel to the Parliament in Ottawa. I'm very familiar with that area, and am reminded of how warmly I was received and how wonderful the people there were.
Then he went on to say this.
We don't yet have all the information about what motivated the shooting. We don't yet have all the information about whether this was part of a broader network or plan, or whether this was an individual or a series of individuals who decided to take these actions. But it emphasizes the degree to which we have to remain vigilant when it comes to dealing with these kinds of acts of senseless violence or terrorism.
Acts of senseless violence or terrorism, Victor Davis Hanson. How do you respond to the president?
Well, before you played it, I said to myself, he's going to use the first person. First thing he's going to say is, I been there. It's going to personalize it. And then he's going to warn us about jumping to conclusions. And then he's going to talk about senseless violence or something like that. And he did. And maybe it's sober and judicious not to jump to conclusions, but I think after 9 hours, there's a more than likely chance that this was somebody who had converted to Islam and was angry. And it's another pattern that we've seen both in Canada and the United States. And I think people, to be frank and candid, I think people are getting tired of it. I think that it's not just the jihadists, it's the question of travel bans from Liberia. Nobody understands the logic of it. Nobody understands anything other than it's a politically correct, embedded decision. It's the same thing with ISIS. They go from JVs to an existential threat. The Syrian Free Army goes from a bunch of amateurs to the linchpin of our ground strategy in the Middle East. I can go on with the IRS. We even get to the point where the Patent and Trade Office is going after the Washington Redskins. So NASA's primary aim, the director tells us, is Muslim outreach. So I think there's a sense that government is both incompetent and it's not doing what it's been tasked to do. The CDC, the IRS, the GSA, the VA, all of them are outsourcing or freelancing, and they're politically minded. And so when our security organizations, our intelligence organizations, when they look at radical Islam, the first question is not how do we destroy those people before they kill us, but what can I say, under what conditions can I say it, and how do I ingratiate myself with my superiors by offering politically massaged advice.